Hello, this is Black Country Blokes Chewing the Fat.
Listen.
I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the moms, especially my own. Let's get going.
Listen.
I've been, yeah. It's the Black Country Blokes Chewing the Fat with me, Kev Dillon, Aaron Dew, Lee Cadman, and Tom Garrett. Happy New Year from us all. I hope everybody, it's been a very different Christmas and New Year, but hopefully different doesn't mean bad. We've all, even though we haven't been together as such, hopefully we're all still here. And then what we're going to be talking about today is experiences through Christmas and, of course, the new lockdown. And I think it's going to affect so many of us in so many different ways. We were just saying off camera then, like today, I've got nothing to be anxious about. I've got my daughter here, who's not at school. She's with daddy. I've got my wife here. I've been having panic attacks throughout the day. And normally when I have a panic attack, anyone who's ever had one, how horrible they are. But normally, Kate will sit with the babe and I can go upstairs and cool myself down. But I think what makes it worse is when you're trying to shield it from your kids. So you're having that is all right. And you're pacing around and you're necking Pranamol, beta blocks to try and calm you down. When you get into that state of panic, then it just escalates. And I want people to phone in, or not phone in, bloody hell, write in and say, I thought I was on free radio then. Just sending you messages, because we've got to be opening up, guys, about these things, because it's not weakness to have panic attacks or to have a wobble. And I reckon we were saying these months, the January, February is when we're broke, when we're fed up, and normally we're packing the fags, we're packing the drink, and we're going to the gym. And it feels like no purpose to do it. I think we've just got to survive by any means necessary. So I want to sit there talking about stuff. And instead of making New Year's resolutions, let's just make every day. Let's try and make a reason to be happy in that day. What do you have to say, Aaron?
No, absolutely. I agree. I think this lockdown slightly different, obviously, to yourself and Tom, as you were both saying just before we started this, that it's affected you almost instantly. Like we've only had the news, 24, 48 hours. I think it probably hasn't sunk into me again. It's kind of more of a here we go again scenario for myself. So what I literally did was, what did I do in the first lockdown that kept me going and persevering? And the key to that was literally music was one of them, and exercise. So I hate running. Like it's just something that I just hate doing. But what I did is, from January the 1st, I literally just started running 5 miles a day. So that's it. Like today, I did a 5-mile run as well. And there's something about that. One, it bloody hurts because I'm not naturally like a long distance runner. But there's something about that. It gives me the element of the gym. It gives me time to just think. It makes me creative. You get a sweat on. You're also trying to focus on your breathing, so you can't worry about anything else. And then obviously I get to listen to music as well, because at home I'm always working 24/7. I'm rarely like doing anything on my phone. I'm just constantly working, so I don't get that time. So I tried to quickly put myself back in that state that I knew was keeping me going. It hasn't really sunk in too much. I do little things. We speak in WhatsApp, and I have little things in my calendar, such as Man United playing, for example. And that's my little bit of excitement. That kind of just keeps me going. And I think, okay, if you get this exercise done and you get this piece of work done, then you can look forward to your downtime there. And I think that's kind of what we have to try and find, like you just touched on there, in the day to day, which is tough, but we've all been through it before. And hopefully anyone watching this, is in the same kind of situation, that they know that you've done that. For example, a 5-mile run, it sucks every time I do it, but in the back of my mind, I know I've done it before. Why can't I do it again? So,
well, on about your runs, Aaron, saying how it makes you feel. You waterboarded yourself the other day, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So, yeah, that was just me being stupid. But
go on, tell everyone.
So yeah, so I was wearing a snood, kind of like a face cover. Not because I was trying not to infect people or not to get infected. It was just I struggle with coldness all the time. I'm always wrapped up and stuff. But after a bit, it's hard enough breathing anyway. I was like, I need to pull this down. And when I pulled it down, obviously it's all wet and my beard's all wet. And then that's it. Literally, the cold hit me, and then that's it. I'm ill for like 3 days. So I'm trying to be healthy on one end, and I come back and I give myself an illness. So I was in bed like the whole day. But yeah, it really is about just trying to find little things that are consistent in your day, something to look forward to, something that even if you don't look forward to it, i.e. running, you know the benefits of it. You know, we talk about talking's so important for all of us. We don't always do it. Sometimes we want to get those words out, but they don't come out. But we know when we do start speaking, i.e. on this podcast, and when people write messages and stuff, we always feel a little bit better from it, if that makes sense.
Well, I look forward to it. I was saying up there, I'm looking forward to it every Tuesday and Thursday, so I know what bloody day it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because at the moment, I mean, like yesterday, it could have been Sunday, it could have been, you know, just days just when you're not at work. So I think what we need in life is structure, whether it's just waking up, walking down the shops and buying a newspaper. We need that structure in our day. And I think when structure's been taken away, what's that old saying? The devil makes work of idle hands. When you've got nothing to do, you fill your time with necessarily bad stuff. Sitting down watching the same episodes of Scrubs that you've seen 400 times or The Big Bang. And I think in the first lockdown, because it was a novelty, all right, I'm going to learn to play the guitar, I'm going to start painting. And then you realise you don't actually enjoy doing that. This time, when the weather's vile, I mean, today's been a nice sunny day, cold but vile. You're thinking, should I go for a run? Well, it looks like it's going to rain. There's a bit of ice on the ground. There's a bit, and it's so easy to talk yourself out of it. Like
that's exactly what I did this morning, mate. Honestly, what you've just said then, because it was cold and dark outside. You know, I didn't bother going. But as Aaron was just saying, straight away, I think I even put something on Twitter about it. You know straight away that you're sitting around feeling anxious, feeling agitated. I can't get to sleep at night, and it's because you don't, like you say, you're not at work. You're not burning that energy off. And, you know, like there's no structure to your day. Like you say, you're just sort of pacing around the house and it's no good for you, is it really? But like Aaron said, I mean, if you can, I mean, the days when I do just force myself out of bed, and I don't go to the gym enough anyway, even before lockdown. But like you say, in the summer, it was definitely easier with the weather being nice. But now it's just like you look outside, it's cold and dark. But as you say, get out there and you do feel much better for it.
Billy Connolly once said, there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing.
I don't know. I think you're right there, Kev. But it's weird because I think the last 5 years, my daughter's prepared me for this, because not having a routine, having a disabled child, your routine's out the window. Some days you don't know whether you're going to be home for 3 weeks. You know, you might be in hospital the one day, she might, you know, it's just crazy. So I think it's prepared me for it. And I'm probably the only one, actually. I enjoy it. I've enjoyed spending time at home. I'm going to enjoy the next few weeks at home with her again. You know, I'm probably the odd one out here.
No, but to be honest, Lee, I mean, I was just going to say before, in the first lockdown, you know, like you say, being a novelty, I was the same. I weren't missing work at all for the first month or two. The weather was nice, you know, sitting in the garden having a beer. And like, luckily, I've been furloughed, so still getting paid. But then this time, like you say, without the weather and everything else, it's just like, you know, no one knows what to do they really? So it's a bit more depressing now, isn't it, this time?
Well, in 2019, we had Osmer who won the AVAs. We had Big Tom Jones who won the developments. So from January to December, I think then went to the Monkstown Cup throughout the season. I think for a whole 52 weeks, I probably had about 3 weekends off. And I keep saying I'm doing too much at the gym, and every boxing coach knows this. And I bet there's a lot of people laughing about it. And you go, I need to have a step back. So when the first lockdown came, I went, you know what? Daddy-daughter time. No TV, no tablets, no phone. And for the first 2 months, we played. And by the end, 10 hours a day of playing, it breaks you down. And, you know, be careful what you wish for. And then this time, like every time now, it's like when, I think in the first one as well, we were supposed to shut down for, I don't know, 3 weeks and end up in 3-4 months. And then like we come out and thought, yes, we will get used to this. The gym spread out, the barbers are set, you know, you go to a restaurant, they've got the plastic things there and everything. And then we had another shutdown. And then the barbers and the gyms, we just keep shutting down, don't we? And you're thinking, when are we ever going to get back to normal?
Like you just said, though, because I'm the same, I get about 3 or 4 weekends off every year. And how many times, you know, I've stood there on a Saturday thinking, oh, I wish I was at home now watching the football or doing this. But then you sat there at home now on a Saturday and I'm thinking, you know, I need to go to work, like I need something to do, really, because it's never as fun as what you think it's going to be, is it?
But
No.
I love being idle. I love in the real world. You know, you're at the gym all the time and you're running off your feet. And them days when the bab's at school and miss at work and lying on the couch, you're going, oh, this is brilliant. But when you've had 10 months of it and you've potentially got another 10 months of it, you're thinking, bloody hell. And I am a social butterfly. I love people. I love rattling to everybody and talking on the phone or doing this is great. But it ain't the same as chewing the fat in real life, is it?
But this is where you got to think of the positive side, though, haven't you? Like, when is this going to happen again? Okay, this might go on for another year now. We don't actually know. You know, we can't. I don't think anyone's brave enough to put a time frame on it anymore. But I'd like to think this is probably once in a lifetime that you'll get this time. So just make the most of it.
But as I say, like, I was talking to one of my good friends. I mean, because it's going for a very rough time at the moment. And I think, you know, when you're in a good place, you know all the positive sayings in the world, all the affirmations, and breathe to your diaphragm, take 5 deep breaths and think of something positive. But when you're in that funk, like, okay, if I go, you know all these, I'll go, okay. At these times, you're the world's biggest hypocrite, you know, because, yeah, the tough times don't matter, tough people do. And you know all these sayings, but when you're in that funk, oh, God, Jesus Christ himself could turn up. I know he's £1 million. And you go, oh, piss off, I'm depressed. Because we were talking about this the other day, weren't we, Aaron? Saying when you're in the funk, it's you know, it's so hard.
No, absolutely. I was just going to say just a few things, actually. So I think what Lee's saying is it's a good reframe. It's a good perspective that we should try and have in terms of just try and see. The thing is, we've got to go through it anyway. We can't change it. You know, we can't put our hands up and say, you know, can I leave this lockdown for a moment, sir? So we're stuck in it. So what can we try and take from it? I think for myself, I'd try and do that. But the one thing that upsets me is when you're seeing, which is why I don't watch the news, people are dying. And it's not just a number to me. It's not just like a statistic. It's like that's somebody's mom, daughter, whatever. And it reminds me of the people that I've lost in my life. And instantly, I don't like that kind of news. So that's why the whole moment as a sort of overarching thing is quite upsetting. But I understand from Lee's perspective is try and switch that. But I think going back to what you guys were saying, and this is what I've tried to do in this lockdown, literally from the off, I found its purpose as a thing is really, really important. So when you're at the ABAs, when you're at boxing, you're working to get people to the ABAs, you're providing for your family, you're bringing something home for the missus, for the little one, and you feel like you've got a purpose in life, i.e., you know, as a father, as a son, or whatever it is, or as a coach. And I think when that's taken away from you, yes, the money comes in, but you feel like you don't warrant that. But if you're on furlough, some people aren't ever getting nothing. And I think that's where you get a bit of a disconnect between like the happiness and the fulfillment side. And I think for myself, what I just try and do is then just keep myself busy and find almost like make up a new purpose. So for me now, I'm spending all my energy on creating content for YouTube, for example, because I know somewhere in the back end that can potentially help people. So it's given me like a new focus and a purpose, which, okay, it's not paying me now, but I know that if I can spend X amount of time on this a day, one, it keeps my brain from being idle and thinking about all the bad stuff that's going on in the world. It keeps me busy, it keeps it sharp. But then on the back end, I know I can help somebody else out from it, similar to like going to work and then providing for the family and stuff. So I think that's where a lot of people are going to struggle, because when you're just stuck at home, there's only so much Netflix you can watch. I mean, last lockdown, I loved it. I'm an introvert by nature. I watched literally everything, and me and the missus were loving it. We were clocking shows like within a day, just sitting there doing nothing and just eating and having fun. Now it's like you go on there, it's like done it. There's like nothing to watch. So for me now, initially I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be so shit, like another lockdown, because I can't watch telly. And I'm like, actually, what's the one thing you love? And for me, it actually wasn't the guitar that I tried to do in the first lockdown. It's YouTube. I've always loved being a YouTube creator, but obviously you got bills to pay. You can't just sit at home making YouTube videos. Whereas now I'm like, well, my project don't start till March. I'm stuck indoors. What can I do? So now all I do is just focus on that. And maybe if there's something that you want to do, we spoke about this last year, that you actually want to do, not because you think it's cool or it's going to keep you busy. Like find some purpose in that, and I think that might just help people just persevere. It gets me excited, to be honest, to wake up. So I am leaning more on the Lee side now in terms of I'm taking that positive, because when else will I get 3 months just to make YouTube videos and see if I can make a crack of it? I probably won't. I'm 34 years old.
This is where you've got to realise as well, there is people dying, and them the statistics we're seeing now, it's frightening, and you do almost forget that those are people, but those people aren't going to have the opportunity that we're having either to carry on life. You know,
Absolutely.
probably out of everyone here as well, I have the most to lose if my daughter was to get it. The chances are it wouldn't be good. So again, you've got to think there is people who in a lot worse situations, and I know this doesn't always make you feel better, but there are people in a lot worse situations than what us four are in at the moment.
That's what I've been.
So, I was just going to say, quote Victor, but if anyone doesn't believe in the coronavirus, which I know a lot of people out there don't, we interviewed someone who's on the front line, Dr. Singh, who's in the ICU ward, and it's honestly, it sent goosebumps down us. So please check it out. It's on our YouTube channel, and if you're on there, please subscribe. Sorry, Tom, carry on, mate.
No, it's all right. I was just going to add to what Aaron was saying, about trying to keep positive. Obviously, like Lee said, the numbers are horrific, and I was only saying it to my other half the other day that we're now looking at numbers. I don't mean this in a horrible way at all, but we're now taking numbers as not actually people anymore. It's just like, I think you hear it, don't you? You see it on Twitter, Instagram. Oh, it's only 600 today. It's not only 600 though, is it? It's like it's horrific. It's people's lives. On the positive side to that, sorry. I've definitely, since I've been helping you guys do this, it gives you something to focus. Like Aaron said, it gives you something to focus on. Just something to do in the day. It makes the day go quicker, keeps you busy. You're helping other people as well. And that's what I just want to say to people, just reach out to someone, because there will be someone there to talk to if you are having a tough time.
And
do you mind if I jump in? Sorry, Kev, we've got a comment with Scott from Sky Stewart, and she really agrees with what we're saying. You have to turn a negative into a positive. Do things like read books or take a course, or keep your time busy.
And we've also got to realise, us four here are blessed. But I always think, if it had been 11 years ago, before I was with our Kate, living in a one-bedroom flat upstairs on my own, I'd gone do lolly. So I think, like, us four here, particularly Bless and Craig, we've got to realise there are some people out there who are either on their own completely or in horrible situations. You know what I mean? So reach out. Always reach out. And if anyone here is listening, please reach out to us. Send us a private message and we'll get back to you. One of us or all of us will. And if anyone would like to come on the show and tell us about your experience of lockdown, be it a positive one, saying, well, actually, I don't know, like Paul Boggy, he's used his time and, he's doing so well with his book, Heroin to Hero. Or if you've had a real bad time, please come on, because we've all got stories to share. How did everyone find Christmas this year?
Oh yeah, mine weren't too bad really. It was quite relatively small. Just spent it with the other half's family. Well, I say it was good. I was hugging the toilet on like Christmas morning, so it weren't brilliant. But
that's a good one.
Yeah, that's what Christmas. Yeah, I was going to say that's what it's all about, isn't it? Really. So yeah, no, it was all right. I didn't get to see my own stepmom and dad because I was isolating, so that was a bit crap. My stepmom's she's from Liverpool, so she hasn't been able to see her family now for nearly a year. So it was a bit sad to not be with her. Same with New Year as well. That was isolating. But as Lee just said, there's people in a lot worse situations. So on the whole, it was pretty good.
Yeah, but you, Aaron.
Yeah, mine was good. I think I remember saying to you guys, I don't think I'll end up having a hangover, and I ended up getting one. So I had a really good time. I went from like one beer to finishing a bottle of whiskey and waking up at the in-laws house. I thinking, where the hell am I? So you're looking at the ceiling, you're like, I don't recognize this place. And then you get that feeling of, did I do something stupid? And for the rest of the day. But I had a really good time. It was nice just to like see the family and stuff. And then about 3 days to recover. And now we're in the new year. So it was good.
I bet you, Lee.
Yeah, mine wasn't that much different to usual, to be honest. Once I left the pub trade, I said I was never going to go anywhere for Christmas Day after working so many. So I'll stop home now when the kids open the presents and we have a nice Christmas dinner. But yeah, it's great.
It didn't feel proper Christmas. I had a lovely time. Me and my girls, I've had dinner here, and mum and dad and my mother-in-law at 2 different stages, popped down in the garden, and they watched Jasmine under at the presents at the bottom of the garden. But my Christmas normally starts with, I have the Christmas boxing show, then it's Kevmas, my birthday, then each day I'm gradually seeing more and more and more and more people. This year, the only place I felt Christmassy was in my living room. by the Christmas tree with the lights on. And it was a great time. But like, I can't remember the last New Year's Eve I went out. You know what I mean? But this year I was thinking, bloody hell, I'd love to go out. I'd love my mum to have the baby and just go out, not even like to a pub, but have a bit of a house party with all the mates and just. I think what I've learned with this one is I'm so lucky. I love my wife more than anyone. You know what I mean? I love her with all my heart. But you start running out of things to talk about. So what have you been up to? I've been sat next to you, dickhead.
Is that why you're phoning us 15 times a day?
Oh, did you get that as well, Lee?
You know, you get off. You ain't talk to me. You spend your time talking to us three.
Oh,
I'm shouting over the fence to my next door neighbour, going, Veronica, can you play?
I keep saying to mine, what do you think? Like Kev says to us in this, I've lost you already.
But you do, I mean, and I think this is nationwide, like, because like when I phone you up, what have you been up to? Nothing. Oh, all right, then I phone Lee. What have you been up to? Well, I walked down the garden. Oh yeah, great. Did you see anything? Saw a magpie. Oh bloody hell! What did it look like? And it's just weird, isn't it? Like some of your like nearest and dearest friends. You know, some of them you just fall straight back into talking, but some of them you're thinking, well, what have we got to talk about?
So what you recommended is not phoning friends anymore.
Yeah, well,
after all that we've been talking about to contact people, Kev's now going, don't bother, them boring.
No, but if you do need someone who needs help, we'll reach out because at least I've got something to say. But do you agree, though? I mean, like when you're with someone, it's not like normally you have 2 weeks off for Christmas. When you've had 10 months, but it's like even them little things like we've enjoyed going walking, like going over Kimber Edge or over the Common and just having little strolls about. We went to, where is it? Saltwells the other week, and it was lovely. You forget how beautiful some of these places are. But, you know, that kind of thing, like on the way back, we'll pop in for a meal. Or, you know, it's a nice day, we'll go to Dudley Zoo. Now I'll book it for 2 weeks on Saturday. Then you get to that Saturday, and it's tipping it then. You're thinking, oh, God, I've got to go now. Do you miss it? You know, the spontaneity of life, how it used to be.
Yeah, of course. I think it's the hardest thing is just choice, isn't it? It's like somebody taking something away from you. It's almost like when you're younger and your parents tell you not to do something. It's in the back of your mind that I need to try that now, irrespective of what they said. You know, it becomes more of a thing. A bit like going to the pub, for example. I was sitting on the telly. Lee's gonna hate me for this. I was watching EastEnders, and they were having a drink over Christmas, and I was thinking that's never appealed to me on a Christmas day to go to the pub and have a drink and stuff. And I was saying to the missus, I would actually love to do that now. Like, you know, just be around strangers, everyone's happy, smiling, have a few drinks, mellow out. And I was like, you can't do that. And again, that's not actually something that I'd do anyway if I had the choice. But now I haven't got the choice. I kind of want to do it. If that makes any sort of sense. So it's strange. And I think that's why we end up then going into this funk. And it's really weird. It's like our mind is like, it can be our best friend or our worst enemy. And it just switches stuff around, and there's actually no logic. I mean, as I'm saying it to you now, there's no logic behind what I'm saying because it's not actually something that I would have ever wanted to do. It'd probably come like number 20 on my list. But now all of a sudden I'm craving that and I'm hating my life and I'm feeling depressed about it. And it's like this vicious circle. We have to snap out of that and think, well, actually, you wouldn't have done that anyway. What would you have liked to do, friends and family? Okay, we still can't do that, but, you know, just try and make the best out of it.
So that old saying, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We can't change the lockdown, but we can change our perspective on it, which is easier said than done, let me tell you. But we can also change the things that we're doing, maybe our diet, how much booze we're drinking, how much exercise we're doing. These are the things we can change. You know, as Aaron says, picking a hobby. Even if you don't like the hobby, have another hobby, enjoy another hobby, and just try and get your farewell self through it by knuckle by crook. And I think that's the truly difficult thing is knowing the difference between what you can and you can't change. And I think once you nail that, you'll be a lot happier. Sorry, Tom.
No, it's all right. I was just gonna add to Aaron just what I was thinking then. It was just like, you know, with the first lockdown, as we were saying, you know, everyone was being positive and, you know, sun was out kind of thing. And I think, you know, definitely something I noticed when I went back to work in, hang on, what I'm in now, July, sorry, yeah, after the first lockdown, you know, is people were really talking about mental health. And it was the same actually again last night. I noticed, just watching news, stuff like reading, Twitter, everyone was talking about it. But the thing that, I would love to not happen again is when we do go back, like you say, whether that's 3 or 4 months, 2 months, we need to keep that up, because it's all right doing it now. But, when you go back into the real world and then you get, we get pressured into doing things, you're out with your mates, that kind of thing, you don't want to get back into that cycle. You need to figure out what's making you feel like that, to change it. Otherwise, there's just no point, because you will just go back out there doing the same things again, and we'll be back in this state again.
And we need more action, less talk with a lot of stuff, because the amount of funding that's been dropped out of mental health and in these things is terrible. I was going to go see a counsellor the other month, and you can't go and see them. You can't go and sit in their office, and you're thinking, so I can go to a jelly shop and pick a mix, but you can't go and see a counsellor. And I'm thinking, where's the logic? And then my friends who are in the mental health circuit, in the system, and they can't go to meetings and they can't go and see people. We're clapping for the NHS, but how come we can't go and see someone if we're mentally ill? And I think there's so much of it now. And I think once this bubble does pop, we need to throw more money at it. We really do. Not just respirators and PPE. We need to be having more mental health nurses out there helping people, because it's bonkers what's going on. And that's why when we do get into the real world, we're going to set up mental health first aid courses at the Lions Boxing Club, hopefully with mental health first CIC, Ian Hines and the gang at the club, and then Papyrus says they're going to help us do some courses. So I want us to have a better understanding of it. So in every gym we have to be first aiders, but I want us to be mental health first aiders and have a greater knowledge, so we know how to talk to people, how to listen to people.
That's the one thing that I keep seeing on Twitter is no disrespect to them, but the NHS keep posting, mental health, we're doing this. But it's, as you just said, it's not as simple as that. You can't just click the link that they've got on Twitter and get an appointment, in a 4 or 5 days' time. I've done it myself previous, and I think to wait for counselling, I think you're probably looking about 3 or 4 months, and that's just like personal one-to-one. They do offer like talking therapies and stuff like that, but for me personally, I didn't feel comfortable doing that. As you say, with COVID at the minute, I don't think you'd be able to do face-to-face anyway. So, like you say, something needs to be done.
And, the people who are working in the stream are caring people. We've had people on here from the organisation. We just need more money thrown into it. Considering the, I don't know, Boris Johnson must have found a leprechaun because he's pulling money from everywhere. But once again, it's not trickling to these kind of places. Too much talk, not enough action.
I think we also need to look at ourselves and what we're doing. There's even at the height of it, with the NHS, keep plowing money into it. Is that going to be the solution? It doesn't tend to be the solution for problems, plowing money into it. So we need to look at ourselves and what we're doing and what we're saying and whether we can do more. Because I quite often think we do this podcast and I really enjoy it, and hopefully it's helping people out there. But do I do enough? And the answer is no. So if every person decided to do that little bit more towards mental health, it'd have a lot bigger impact than Boris Johnson giving the NHS 200 million for mental health.
Yeah,
and I think it's just that caring community attitude. Because all of a sudden we're just putting everyone down. Well, he's got his nan around. Let's phone the old bill. Or he's gone out for 2 hours exercise instead of 1 hour. You don't know what that person's going through. Maybe he does need his nan to come sit in the garden, or maybe he does need to go out several times because he's living in a bad house or he's living on his own. As Aaron said, there's nothing worse than living in your own head. So instead of putting people down, we should be picking them up, saying, excuse me, are you okay? And wait for the answer. Because if they say, I'll tell you something, Tom, no, I ain't. Why? Engage in the conversations, even if the answer of the conversation might be a scary one. And if they do give you a scary answer, then say, try and get them a helpline. And as always, we've got helplines and different organisations at the bottom of this page. So if you are struggling, click on one of the links and just reach out.
Yeah. I just want to add to what Lee said, Kev, if I may. I just think that's such a brilliant point. It's something that I battle with as well on a daily basis, that we do this, and even the other podcasts, I'm always trying to help people learn from adversity, learn from hard times, learn about mental health, anxiety, and all that sort of stuff. There's two points I want to make. One, when I do it, I feel good and I think, okay, this is brilliant. This is what I need to be doing. But it's very, very consuming as well. I find that the more energy I put into mental health and in posts and educating and having conversations, I feel like I can see my battery draining. And then all of a sudden I then need to disappear for a week or two. And it kind of has a negative effect. As much as I get that fulfillment of helping someone, I then struggle as well. But the second point was we have to kind of find that sweet spot of doing what Lee's saying. Are we doing enough? Let's try and do a little bit more, because what will happen, and I just thought of this as you were saying it, is you will get people in your community or people who know you who will reach out to you, because you'll almost be that person. So how I'm the property guy, for example, I'm also now the anxious guy. So a couple of my friends, especially during lockdown, had anxiety for the first time. They didn't know what anxiety was. So when I used to say I was anxious, they never used to understand it. Now they were like, I understand what you're going through now. And they'd have a conversation with me. I've had quite a few conversations. I even had one this morning as well with a friend. You could just tell he just wanted a conversation. So we just had a conversation. And it was great because I became that person. Now, this is just me. My issue is with myself is I'm not always in that frame of mind to want that conversation. You know this, Kev. Sometimes you'll ring me. I just probably don't want to answer it. Sometimes I'll have a chat with you for 2 or 3 hours on the phone. And that's just me trying to find what's best for myself. But I think if every single person, how we always throw Facebook statuses saying Merry Christmas to everyone or Happy New Year, why don't we all throw it? If we genuinely mean it and we can put aside a couple of hours a week and say, if there's anyone that needs me, drop me a DM, here's my WhatsApp number, or message me. And I think that, like Lee just said, would be brilliant, because could you imagine if every single person is willing to listen to somebody else, even for 5 minutes, if everyone just puts aside 5 minutes to listen to someone, complete stranger, friend, family, I think that would be a massive, massive thing. So yeah, great point, Lee.
And it's like you just said.
Sorry,
it's like you just said, Aaron. Going back to that point again. Sorry, go on, Kev. Sorry, it's just gone out of my head.
Carry on,
honestly, mate, it's gone out of my head. Go on.
Well, I was going to say, like, we've been having quite a lot of nice feedback. You've been reading it because you've taken over a lot of our social media.
Yeah.
And it is wonderful when you got Joe Blokes going. I've suffered with Brett Eter and just opening the heart to you. And I think it's great, because it takes a lot of courage to reach out and say, you know what, I have panic attacks, or I'm depressed, or some days I don't bathe for hours at days at a time, and I think more we can start talking about it, the next generation and the generation after that, it'll become the norm to them. When you can just say, I've got problems, and do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, they definitely will as well. I do think the younger generation now are a lot more alerted to it. My missus being a school teacher, I hear a lot of different things, about kids' mental health, and I think a lot more of them now are coming forward and saying, especially with to do a lot with exams and stuff like that. But going back to the point, sorry, I just remembered what Aaron was saying is, I know exactly how you feel, because some days when I'm at work, I'm cutting hair. Sometimes I go into work and I think, I really want to have a good conversation with this guy today. And then if I've had a crap day, I've woke up in a crap mood, I'm depressed, I'm going into work, I'm thinking, oh God, and you don't want to be like that, but it's like Aaron said, it's hard to give advice or sort of tell anyone what to try and what would be better for them when you're in that state of mind, because you just don't feel like it, do you?
I think sometimes as well, Tom, you feel like you've got to give advice and answer that back. But I think sometimes you can step away. I found that in the pub trade. Sometimes step away and just listen to them. Like in the pub, you get people sitting at the bar for hours on end, just what I consider moaning at the time. But actually, all they were doing was releasing themselves. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Definitely.
I
don't think you need the answer for those people. You just need to be listening.
Yeah, definitely.
Lee, you're on fire today, mate. I love that.
Yeah, you like it, mate.
I'm loving it.
Lack of sleep, that is.
I love it.
But if you think at the four of us here, three of us, a landlord of a pub, then a boxing, a gym instructor, and a barber, that's where a lot of blokes actually go and talk. You're half cut and you're having a rattle, you're in the gym blowing out your arse, so you sat there feeling important, what makes you look handsome. And you just rattle, even if it's where you're going on your holidays, Bert, or how's the wife, or that's where a lot of blokes talk. And when we've lost them places where we can just go and, oh, work shit. Oh, yeah. Once we ain't got that, we stop talking.
We've had a comment in from Robert Horton. How you doing, Robert? You comment quite a lot, Robert, and we appreciate that. You know, we like the feedback and the banter. I'll put it up on the screen actually. Bear with me. So Robert says the greatest gift you can give is time. To the young, the elderly, disabled, people of all ages. We all do the things we do, not because we have to. We want to do it. I think you are brilliant. Listen to you all the time. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Rob.
And I think that's what Craig's always saying, that the greatest gift you can give is time. And as Craig always says, because I never, in 10 years' time, I won't recognise that 20 quid. You know what I mean? It's, you don't go, oh, bloody hell, I remember spending that 20 quid on bloody 2 boxes of fags. You know, but that time, that half an hour you spend with your kids, your family, your friends, your loved ones, you know, that's precious. My mum always said, like, when hopefully it's a long way away, but when she's on the deathbed, she won't think about, oh, I'm glad Bob, when we bought that sofa, or I'm glad we bought that TV, he'll be playing with me and Richard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think what we've got to start doing, and I know it's easier said than done, and I don't want to seem like, you know, all this, but we have got to start thinking, we've got the choice. Life's full of, what's the saying? Life's full of life's full of choices. So see how you, I can't believe think of the saying.
Did you say life's full of shoes?
Shoes.
I heard that one.
Life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But I've got lactose intolerance, so I know it's going to give me the shit.
That's a good one.
Now we've got choices. So let's choose to try and make our days a bit better and our loved ones a little bit better. Has anyone got anything else to say?
I'd just like to say, sorry, we mentioned Tough Enough to Care earlier, and Tough Enough to Care are raising money for suicides to hopefully help stop suicide. They're raising money to get a van that goes round to people and talks to them and helps them. I'll put the link in the bottom of here if anyone wants to do anything. I think it's Stuart. I'm trying to find it. I can't
Stuart
find it.
Bratt.
Stuart Bratt. I think it's Stuart who is doing it, and he's doing 84 exercises for 84 days. So that could be running or doing this or doing that. So yeah, please people go and have a look, and hopefully you can raise a bit of money for them. Stuart
Bratt, who started Tough Enough to Care, has been on the show in the first lockdown, and Dan Browning, who was a big part of it. He was one of our first guests when we were back at the gym. So once again, check them out. They're doing amazing work for men and women, ex-squaddies who have suffered so bad, you know what I mean? And they get this organisation, talking therapies, and they do great work. So, you know, massive respect to you all. Now, what we're going to start doing, because on most Tuesdays, we're going to have a guest, so many different people. And Thursdays, we're going to go a bit light-hearted and have a bit of a laugh as we have been doing. But if anyone has got any topics that you want us to talk about, please write in. And, you know, and always feel like you can comment. Because let's face facts, we ain't experts on it. You know, but if you want to have an open conversation, see our perspective on something, then please send in, either on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all these things that I know nothing about. So, has anyone got any quotes?
I just want to add one thing to that, Kev. Just quickly. Going back to obviously asking people, you know, to share the story. I just wanted to say there is the option as well to obviously pre-record it. I mean, the first time I did it, I was absolutely crapping myself, and you know, I kept saying, "Oh, not tonight, not tomorrow." So we do. You don't have to come on and you know, share your story live. We can pre-record it if you feel more comfortable that way.
And we have done that several times with people, haven't we, Lee? In fact, that's how we first started, wasn't it?
That's right. And if you and then what we do, once it's pre-recorded, we send it back to you first to listen to. If you're happy with it, then we'll release it. So there'll be nothing released if you're not happy.
Yeah. So the options are there. You know, like with everything, there's ways around everything. So, any quotes, anybody? Okay.
Got hashtagged.
Life's full of choices, so make choices that you can count on. So until we see each other next time, take care of yourselves and each other. It's right a bit.
Listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit.
Listen.